right, how do I keep my team motivated as we grow? This is important because there's going to be a trail off period where everybody and everyone is motivated, but then they start trailing off and you got to keep the motivation going, right? So leadership is important here because as you evolve, the team grows and the team evolves as well. Everybody evolves together and you need to inspire them. You need to retain and grow talented people that are in your business and keep them motivated along the way. And part of doing that is looking at their professional goals, their personal goals, PPF, personal, professional, and financial. And so there's not crossing that line into being their friend, but ultimately saying, what are your professional goals? What are your personal goals? And what are your financial goals? And then you can add a couple other things on the side. You know, what are your hobbies? What are your strengths? What do you like to do in your off time? Obviously keeping the professionalism there, but saying, hey, I actually am, considering and being concerned more with you as a person than just you as a transaction. You're building a connection. You're showing that you care about them because yes, you should care about them because they're caring about you and your business and they're dedicating their time and their efforts into helping you and your business as well. So leadership comes in very heavily here. And having good leadership, it requires good confidence. And in good confidence, it requires good communication. And ironically enough, we have an entire program that's based on confidence and communication, right? So confidence and communication is cyclical. You get better at confidence, you get better at communication. You get better at communication, you get better at confidence. And ultimately, this is step one in our Founders Field Day, foundersfieldday.com, which is a free newsletter, but we do offer programs that talk about confidence and communication. And I would advise going through that because having better confidence, having better communication, you're looked at as a better leader. You're able to connect with people better. You're able to understand them better. They're able to be heard, they're able to be seen, and they're able to get their story across and feel like they're making an impact. Because the biggest complaint today with our generation now is they're working, but they're not making an impact. They say they don't feel like they're making an impact. So show them what the big picture is, but then get granular enough with them to show how important they are to the business itself, right? Because you need to inspire them. You need to show that they belong. They're part of a team. The majority of people that are out there working for you, they're going to want to feel accepted. They're going to want to feel that there's a sense of approval there when they do something. You can show all that as a leader. Some people are going to be more significant than others, and they feel that they're just not making a big enough impact and they're not significant enough. You're going to have to be there for them as well. It's not one shoe fits everybody. Everybody is different. And the managers that do it best have the best leadership skills. The business owners that do it best have the best leadership skills, the best communication skills, the best confidence skills. And this goes into a little bit of psychology as well, because when you understand people, you understand that people are reasons and people are not just a product of a problem, right? So everybody is the way they are because of certain things in childhood. And ultimately, that is being reflected in everything they do today. So understanding that and saying, okay, how do I work with this person and understand and connect with them on their level? And then we go forward from here. This will make you a very well-respected leader and somebody that people can connect with. So common morale killers, they're morals, but common morale killers are these: lack of communication, expectations that are not talked about. And this even works in relationships. You are expecting somebody to do something and they don't do it, or they do it different than what you expected. And then you get mad at them for not doing it the way that you expected, but they never even knew that you had a certain way that you expected in the first place. Same thing happens in business. So expectations, lack of communication, no clear mission or goals for the person, their position, or the company themselves as a whole, or feeling undervalued and overworked. Right? There's going to be deadlines. I've had projects where we've done things with Disney where we had 72 hours to make the world go around and complete the project. And guess what? I had to motivate my staff. I had to schedule things accordingly. I said, guys, we're going to undertake this massive project. I can't work you guys 72 hours straight, but I can give you an hour off here, an hour off there. I'm sorry, but you're going to get bonus on this. We're going to rock and roll. It's going to be a massive project. I got them motivated. So I motivated them by money. I motivated them by the overall outlook of the project itself, where I said, hey, when you complete this, this is a resume statement that you'll be able to use for time in and time again. And I motivated them with, hey, when we're completed, this is what we'll do as well, right? But we have to have a successful completion, and you guys are working just as hard as me, so let's do all this together so that I'm not riding you, and you're pissed off about me riding you the whole time and the job isn't fun. And it worked out great. I was able to motivate them the entire time. They felt valued. They didn't feel overworked. I qualified the time that they would get off. And I said, look, you're gonna have this much time off during the project. Use it wisely, make sure you sleep. Obviously, we'll take breaks during the project as well. But I was able to communicate that effectively. And this all goes in here. I let them know the mission, the goals. I had good communication, and it was great, right? So if you don't do this, then it will suffer. Now, ways to keep a team motivated. Share the bigger vision often. Remind people what they're enrolled in and why they're doing this, right? Because everybody has a why. Everybody has their own personal goals. Everybody has their own professional goals. Everybody has financial goals. We in the United States, you're not supposed to talk about money, and you're not supposed to talk about sex. Well, ironically enough, I think both of that is BS, right? Because money and currency is current. If it's not current, why is it even called currency? We need to talk about money because people work for a job, because they want to fit in somewhere. They want to make a certain amount of money. They have their own professional and personal and financial goals that they're doing. And also they want to be part of a bigger vision. What does the company stand for? Is it cool work that you do? Maybe that's it. Some of my companies, we do massive things with theme parks and concerts and live events and all these things that are great big stages and famous A-list celebrities and artists. Well, them just being able to be around that and do that, that's great. They love it, but that's not the only motivator. We have financial motivators that are triggers that motivate them as well. There's certain time frames and certain people that are around that are motivators as well. Finding what motivates who and then working with them on that so that you can persuade them ethically in doing so is good for you. And it's communicating the whole step of the way. So share the bigger vision often, celebrate wins, even the small ones. The smallest wins, let's say somebody's doing something where, it's a very small task, but they completed it and you know that they struggled it. It was important to them. Coming in and celebrating that win, showing them that you care about that you notice them, and that this is a big deal without any ridicule going on from anybody else in the company, that's going to be valuable to them, because what's valuable to them may not be valuable to somebody else, may not be valuable to you, but seeing the lens through their eyes is extremely important, and showing that you care, showing that they're seen, showing that you saw what they did and you're celebrating that win is something that's good. Now, also investing in their growth and their training, right? Because growth, training, and mentorships, what are skills that they can learn that not only get them better at the job that they're doing now in your company, but what are the skills that they can learn that they can take somewhere else and they can use that somewhere else, right? I always like saying this. When I hire somebody on, or when you meet me in person, I am working with you and you will leave better than you came into my ecosystem. And I really mean that. And I've had people come up to me later on and go, hey man, like I've learned phenomenal skills from you and in just being in your business, and I've used those in my own business or the companies that I work for. For instance, I had an operations manager who worked great, taught him sales. I was an impact on how he learned sales. Had him do a couple programs, get really involved with it. Now he's like the #1 sales guy for a major hotel chain doing events and working in the event space. And he definitely pays credit to me and says, hey man, like I helped you, but you helped me tremendously. And that makes me feel good, but it's really important as well. Not just for the feel good, but also to know that, hey, I did what I said I was gonna do. He left better than when he came in, because not everybody's going to work for your company for the rest of their lives. And if you get that out of the way, hey, I tell people this when I bring them on. I say, hey, I would like you to work for me for the rest of my life. However, I know that that's really possibly not completely true, that would actually happen, because maybe it will, maybe it won't. But the likelihood that it will, we just have to be real here. And so I want you to gain as much knowledge in my company as you can. And I even tell people, hey, ethically use me and my company to skill stack, to get the knowledge that you have. Just do me a favor. And when you do consider leaving, bring it to me first. Don't blindside me and just give me a 2 weeks notice and then you're gone 2 days later and you went to work for my competitor or somebody else. Give me a notice. Maybe there's something we can resolve, because if they give me a notice or they say, hey, I'm considering this. Okay, well, why are you considering that? Is it pay? Is it your growth? Is it you don't feel like you're growing enough now, or you're making a big enough impact? Because those are the three main drivers that people leave companies for: a better opportunity, a better pay, or more impact, right? Or maybe it's something to do with their personal life and they feel that they have more control over it on their schedule or their travel or something else. And ultimately, you can't impact anything on that because your company's already located at a certain location. So these are things to understand. Celebrating the wins, investing in their growth, and now setting clear expectations and pathways for advancement. I always do this. I say, look, we're gonna do reviews every 6 months, and then definitely a year-round review every year. Now, every review may not include a raise. I base raises on certain things and I'm looking for certain things. Here's the things that I'm looking for in the raise. Are you taking on more responsibility? Are you completing tasks as assigned and on time, if not early? Are you leaving the workplace better than when you came in the day before? Or are you leaving your entire system or your desk or your workspace or whatever you're doing better? Are people around you better? Are they understanding you better? Are they understanding the job better? Are you helping others? I'm trying to think of a way to purposely put this. Are you impacting? I should say, are you impacting others on a positive note? Are you coming in late? If these things, these are all part of the performance review. I could go into performance review here for many hours, but there's things that are online that you can look at. What are performance indicators and what could I help with on a performance, or what could I look at on a performance review, and ultimately see what is there and then make your own. I like making my own so it's personal, but at the same time, it is professional as well. It is a professional environment that we are in. So building a culture for feedback and recognition. This is big because people overlook this. And if you overlook this, your culture is an important part of your business. And I talked about this in early segments. Your culture, as the first couple of people you bring on, is going to define your culture. What are your expectations? What's your communication? What is your culture? What are the attitudes in there? What's the bigger picture? What's your mission, vision, principles? Are they enrolled in those mission, vision, principles as well? These are things that you should understand also. So creating ownership, let the team members own the projects and the outcome, right? There's a way of doing things. And it's ironic because I'm about to have a kid and I've been really involved in a lot of psychology and looking at things on how to better communicate, how to better read people, understanding human behavior, things like that. And the thing here is this, is there's a way to shape the narrative and persuade somebody into doing something, including kids, versus saying, don't do this, yes, do this. Instead of the hard yes or no, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. There's ways to shape this to where you are actually allowing the person to think themselves, to manage themselves, and to complete something themselves, but you just led them and guided them along the way, right? And so the better that you can understand human behavior and understand that, the better you will be. Because somebody, if you are telling somebody something and you're taking all the credit for their work and they're completing the task, but they felt like, hey, like I really didn't do anything because this person told me what to do the whole way, there's not a sense of empowerment there. There's not a sense of, this really made sense to me and I felt like I made an impact, right? It wasn't impactful. If they do it and you just guided them, and you already knew what the outcome was, but you shifted them towards the outcome by giving them nudges and helping them along the way. But they were the ones that made decisions. They were the ones that completed the project, and they were the ones that ultimately reached the goal at the end. They feel like they achieved the outcome on their own, and they almost forgot that you helped them. And that gives it a sense of empowerment. And ultimately, you will have a great, great employee that says, wow, I like doing this. I really like being involved in this, and I want to continue forward, versus, oh my God, I have to work for this person who thinks that they're doing everything and they know everything. So showing that leadership cares is major. And that just showed that you cared by doing that. So show that you care, ask them periodically what their personal, professional, financial goals are, and ultimately you'll be better off. So it's not just about the results, but it's about the people. So keep the motivated team and make sure that they perform well. Check in on them, but guide them. don't demand and demean them and talk down to them. Very different things, two different things. And it all comes down to communication and your leadership skills, which is exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the video. So the next one we're going to be talking about, when is it time to raise outside capital or seek investors? This will be a good one. I'll see you there.